Who's Godwin? Who's Godwin? Participant? All right, we should start talking. All right, Godwin, good afternoon. I know you could hear, or you should be able to hear, but you will not, because you are muted, you may not be able to talk. All right, while we're waiting for other participants, let's just discuss what we have for today and go. All right, so you have learned or discussed extensively on entrepreneurship, which is the real reason why you are even in this class. Because if you look at it, one might assume that you're in this class because you need to get loan. But EDI is not just for loan, is to develop that part of you that has that entrepreneurship spirit, that has that entrepreneurship drive. And why are we developing that part? We're developing that part because there are certain things that we have studied from the past and we realize you should know because you was just starting out. For those of you that are already entrepreneurs that have done something before, there are things that we'll say here that will buttress some of your observations. Whereas some of you that are just expanding your business, that are already entrepreneurs in business, you will realize that the business you are going into might be different. You just need to do some refresher course and and adjust yourself properly. All right, let's begin. Today, the second module is on feasibility study and business plan. So, like I said, this module is divided into two. That's the feasibility study, section 1. Then section 2 will be the business plan. Under the section 1 feasibility study, we have a couple of topics there. I think about 4 topics here. We're going to see it soon. And then under business plan, we have about 7 topics. But these two subjects or these two sessions are interrelated. And because they are interrelated, most of the things that I might be talking under business plan, you will hear me discuss quite a number of them under the feasibility study. So, but just for me to confirm that I've already started the class with Godwin, while we're still waiting for other participants. Maybe Godwin should kindly chat me and say I'm here, I can hear you, so that sometimes it could be very funny talking into the air. Although we don't have problems talking into the air here for today, particularly because this will be recorded on the YouTube, and it's going to be recorded on the YouTube, meaning that any other person can go back and watch our message again. So I'm not worried too much about that. All right, so for Godwin who is participating now, and then for the purpose of those that will come back to go through this on our YouTube, fine. Let's, okay, let me see, is it Godwin that is speaking now? I have a chat now. Okay, great. All right, you hear me? Good. All right. Somehow this should be just a discussion between me and you. So what is feasibility study? Can you tell me what feasibility study is? When I ask this kind of question, I don't want you to go and give me academic definition. I'm not interested in academic definition. I'm interested in what comes to your mind anytime someone say feasibility study. So just tell me, write it. Let's see what you know, so that we can talk faster and we will go. So what is feasibility study? Have you heard the word before? If you've heard the word before, what does it stand for? You write it. If you have not heard the word before, no, it's just not possible for you not to have heard the word. You must have heard the word. It's a simple word, feasible. And so feasibility study, what does it connote when you're talking about business? All right, you can write it for me. I know your chat may come in slower because of network. Okay, while I'm waiting for anything you can say, let's go to the next thing. So we say section 1 is feasibility study, right? Section 1, what am I writing here? I still have a pretest. All right, thank you. You said means overview study, right? Okay, overview. Yeah, I would have quickly agreed with you that it's an overview, but depends on what you mean by overview. I mean, if you can extend the meaning of overview, like taking a horizon view or looking far into the future or trying to capture what a simulation. Yes, I can easily take that. Okay, so we have done number one. Yeah, number two here says differentiate between feasibility study from a business plan. So you are supposed to do that for me, but before you do that, let me give you an analogy. The common analogy I give in this my in anytime I'm opportunity to take this type of section is that when you may be considering putting up your house somewhere, your home, where you want your wife, your family, or to live or something. So you now go look at a piece of land. You can just look at the place and then check whether the streets there are fine, the neighbors are okay, the topography of the land is fine, and then you make up your mind: is this land even available for sale? When you do all of that, you are doing what? Feasibility study. But that doesn't give you a house. What gives you before you start the house is for you to go back and get the architectural plan for the house. So we can say the feasibility study is when you go and check whether you can buy the land, whether the land is available for sale, whether the land is okay by you, whether you want to put your home there. Whereas the business plan is like your architectural plan, because with the architectural plan you can now put up the structure, you can put up your home. Remember, if the topography is not straight, the architect will have to find a way of twisting the plan in such a way that it will fit into that particular land space or land structure. So I can ask you now what to differentiate between feasibility study from a business plan. Let me hear your own side. Okay, you say weighing the total expected experience in view of decision making. Okay. No, that sounds like you're still defining feasibility study. Okay, so the next one we said number three. What are the reasons why we should do a feasibility study? That one sounds a little obvious. Let me not bug you with that. Let's just proceed with today's discussion. See. All right. So, like I said, we have four topics under feasibility study. The first one is feasibility study and a feasible business. We want to know what a feasibility study is, and we also want to know what a feasible business is. You had already started defining feasibility study, so I know that when I go there, I'm going to give you only my view. Well, you can compare it, check it against other views too. We also wouldn't want you to just go away without knowing what a feasible business is. What's the relationship between knowing, or why should we know whether a business is feasible? We need to know whether a business is feasible because it should agree with your feasibility study. At that time, you would have fulfilled what you may have observed from the feasibility study. That's why we're bringing that checklist. Number two, topic two is we just have three items there. What's the objective of doing a feasibility study? What's the purpose? What's the goal? What do you want to achieve? Right? So, what you want to achieve is what we want to talk about there. And then, why is it important? Once we mention why feasibility study is important, then we will mention some common shortcomings that we have observed from other feasibility study that people have given us. Okay. Then number three, I just have some advice to give. We say how to go about a feasibility study. So I have just some piece of advice to give on that. And then number four is the components of a feasibility study. What we mean by components of a feasibility study, we expect some minimum items, right? When I pick your feasibility study, at least I should see something. So even if it's just one sentence, there is that one sentence that I want to see. So that's what we want to mention on that before. Right, let's proceed. Yeah. Okay. Here now, what are we saying? We say what is a feasibility study, right? That's what we're saying here. What's a feasibility study? Feasibility study is the analysis of the viability of an idea. The analysis of the viability of an idea. It's simple. My own is very simple, the way I put it, because it's something you can sing and sing and sing. Okay, there are three keywords there: analysis, viability, idea. What idea? Business idea. So why are you analyzing a business idea? You just want to check whether it's feasible, whether it's viable. That's all. So how do we check whether a business idea is viable? Is essentially what we want you to do at this time. So, and when you are doing this thing, there are lots and lots and lots and lots of questions that you ask yourself. Okay, if you look at the last paragraph there, we say what? A feasibility study looks at the viability of an idea with an emphasis on identifying potential problems and attempt to answer one main question. You know, when you get all these potential problems, you now try to answer the main question that brought you into this whole thing. Will the idea work? Should we proceed with it? Once the idea will work and you can proceed, then you have done your feasibility study. All right, let me give you an example that I usually give. I say, okay, if you want to make a machine that can feed people, that gives people food, right? You put the machine on your table, put food inside, and you sit by your dining seat, and then the machine feeds you with all the sensors and all of that. They now want to do whether I want to analyze whether that is going to be a viable business. So we'll go into manufacture of such business. Sorry, excuse me. We'll go into the manufacture of such a machine and see if we can sell them. The first question I want to ask you as part of my analysis is: would you want a machine to feed you, or you want to use your hands? Stroke cutlery. People are used to using cutlery. People are used to using their hands. Are they really tired? Don't they want to? Do they want to stop using these things? If the answer is no, that they want to continue using them, then that puts viability into question. So maybe I should ask you, which one would you want to use? Would you want to just fold your hands? You don't want to touch any food. The machine feeds you. You walk away. You're going to tell me in the chat which one you would prefer, or you want to continue with your old ways of using your hand to eat or cutleries to eat. So you can tell me in the chat. Okay, but while I'm waiting for you to write that in the chat, there are potential problems that we should identify. Some of the problems we could identify will include something like how will the machine be powered? You understand? How will the machine be powered? Okay, another one is, okay, if we say, okay, let's put battery that it can keep charging, or if we ask ourselves, how do we clean up this machine? Now that we have COVID, can two people share the machine? These are issues that will keep coming up. You understand? These are issues that we want to ask ourselves to know whether the machine is viable. Let me see. I think someone chatted. It should be you. Should be Godwin. All right. Oh, you say you always, not just that you prefer cutlery. So you say you always prefer cutlery, meaning goodbye to my machine. The machine is not going to sell. You see, we have just done a simple analysis on a machine, and we have discovered that it's not going to sell. So will the idea work? You have already answered no. And should we proceed with it? Of course not. All right, so what we do usually in this type of analysis to ask a whole lot of people. If we discover that most people don't need this machine, then we would forget it. It's just that we're not so many in class, so I couldn't take a poll of so many people to know what they prefer. Okay. All right. The next slide, we're saying feasible business. What are the things we should we can say? Okay, this is a feasible business. How do we know that this is a feasible business? We have four checklists on the screen here. Four checklists for you to do. Let me take it from under. Allow me to take it from under. If you're following, one, a feasible business, right, is the one where the business will meet the goals of the founder. If you have a goal for founding a business and that business is meeting it, then it's a feasible business. Except you didn't have a goal, or you didn't even think of opening, or think about the business before you started. Maybe you found yourself there accidentally. Or the other one is to remain viable in the long term. In the long term, you know, your business, you want your business to remain viable in the long term. Some business naturally can't be viable in the long term. By the time by the time we're done with, the whole world is done with COVID-19, nobody will need to use a face mask again. Nobody will need to use a face mask again for for what you only only see where face masks will be used in the hospitals when they need to do some work or the other. So that's not a long term for any business. Why would you want to start a business that in the next couple of months you don't need to use, you don't need to sell to anyone anymore? All right. Another one is feasible business. Will it withstand the risk it's going to encounter? That's the one in the line in green. You see how it's coined. It's coined in such a way to tell you that risk will always occur. Why would I say risk will always occur? Is when you know what I meant by risk, then it's easy for you to understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that risk is a probability of something occurring, probability of an event occurring. Now, the outcome of the event will be positive, negative. Most of the time, when we say is when any event occurs and it's negative, then we now call it pure risk or downward risk. But that is not, we didn't mention downward risk. Yeah, we're saying risk generally. So that includes the other risks that are speculative risk or business risk. When you say speculative risk or business risk, it means it can go any way. It can be positive, something interesting can happen, something not interesting can happen. For example, now that the season, the Yuletide is here, I can go to the market and I say, I want to buy goats. I may have asked a few friends and they say, Christmas, the goat is going to sell for 15,000. And I get to the market and I see a big goat for 10,000. That's a risk because it can happen either way, right? I can get to the market and then the goat is going for 20,000. You can see that will the what I'm saying is that the risk there is that it's a speculative risk or business risk. It goes either way. You can't be sure which way it will go. All right. So the question we're asking for a feasible business is that can that business withstand the risk? So can it withstand the risk if the price of the goods goes to 10,000 or goes up to 20,000, right? Because of course somebody will say, "Hey, if it goes down, if it's with 15,000, if it goes down, of course the business is feasible." But we're saying all kinds of risks. Sometimes some positive things like increase in sales. If there are so many people making demands on you, can you answer? Can you attend to them? If you can't, then it means that you are not your business is not yet feasible. All right, then coming to the last point, which is the writing in black or the first one, we say, can that business generate adequate cash flow here, right? Can it generate adequate cash flow and profit? Okay, now that I have other participants in the class, let me hear what do you think cash flow is? What do you think profit is? Just give me the difference. What do you think cash flow is and what do you think profit is? Okay, you give it to me and I tell you one more story. Let me check the chat and see if I'm going to get the response there. Ah. Okay, Godwin, are you still there? If you are there, what's the difference between cash flow and profit? Okay, maybe while you're thinking of, or before you answer me, I can tell you a story. The story is about two girls. Let me tell you. One of them is called Amaka, another one is called Patricia. They sell oranges and then they get to the market. They bought 10 oranges each for 10 naira. That's 10 times. That's 10 times 10 orange, 100 naira each. So both of them spent 100 naira, and then they got to the market after peeling them or processing them. They sold. Patricia is selling hers for 200 naira. Amaka is selling hers for 100 naira. All right. The Amaka sold all hers, Patricia sold all hers, and then they're back. So how much profit did each of them make? Right, they both spent 100. So Amaka spent 100 times 10 oranges. That is 1,000. I mean, she got 1,000 and then spent 100 naira. That's profit of what? 900. All right, we said Patricia sold for 200. Okay, 200 times 100 oranges. That's 2,000. 2,000 minus 100 that she bought it, 1,009. Great. But there's something I didn't tell you. Patricia sold all hers for credit, whereas Amaka sold hers on cash basis. You will see that at the end of the day, Amaka has 1,000 with her, and then Patricia has nothing on her. So that goes to tell us that one had made good cash of 1,000 and then profit of 900, right? Then the second one is is Patricia. Patricia sold on credit. Uh, Patricia sold on credit, and that's you see, she has no cash with her at all. These are two models, right? You see that she's making plenty profit or makes more profit than Amaka, but she doesn't have cash at the end of the day. Which model would you prefer, Godwin? I don't know which of the two models. Would you want Amaka's model? Would you want Patricia's model? So you can write it for me, and I'm sure from what I've said, you'll be able to bring out what the difference is between cash flow and profit. Okay, before we leave topic one, let me mention some things that you should note anytime they are talking about feasibility. So the first one you should note is that any business idea, anybody with a business idea should conduct feasibility study so that you can know the viability. It's almost like a standing rule. Once you have a business idea, anytime it comes to you, or somebody walks up to you and say, "I have this idea," just tell the person, go and do a feasibility study. Another thing that we'll need you to notice, the feasibility study itself, right? When you're doing it, you will realize that it will address some things like where are you going to set up this business? How will you operate this business? These are very important questions because one, if I want to set up business in the middle of Abuja now, looking maybe to use any of these undeveloped land, it might not be a great idea. Even though I might be saying my produce, I can take them straight to ShopRite, to Sahad. I can take them to Next Cash and Carry before the other people will bring theirs, or they will need to transport. So you'll be able to beat them at it. But there are problems with your model. What's the problem? Your model is that, are you sure you'll be allowed to cultivate around Abuja? Two, will you get the size of land that you need? Okay, the next point is that we say it provides in-depth details about the business. So as you're doing feasibility study, one thing will be coming to light. You start realizing some things that you didn't even know before when you started the business or when you conceived the idea. You could say, okay, you want to go into dispatch, you want to be dispatching goods to people. It's when you get into the business, you now realize that courier service is not that easy. It should be regulated by an IPOS. Courier service is not so easy. You could see one of your drivers or cyclists will say, "I can't locate the place," or it's not, it doesn't want to work with you again. Or your cyclist or driver can get to the place and the customer is not even there to receive the item. Okay, so these things are, you see them when you do the feasibility study. All right, the line in blue is so important to me. That's why I say it serves as a valuable tool in developing a winning business plan. When we started discussion, we said, for you to do a good business plan, or when we started the discussion, we said that business plan and feasibility, they are somehow interrelated. Right. So here, this is one of the points. So when you do a feasibility study, when you write your business plan, it's going to be sound. It's going to make more meaning than the person that didn't bother to study the business in the form of feasibility study. Okay, so the feasibility study can be used in many ways, but the primary focus for business venture. You are going to see one of the uses shortly. All right, that's it for topic one in this section one, which is what is a feasibility study and what's a feasible business. And so we added what you should note when you are talking about a feasibility study. So let me proceed now. Did Godwin answer one of my questions? Okay, even if you didn't answer, don't bother. But if you still remember, keep answering. By that, it makes it more interactive for me. It makes it helps me connect to you easily. All right. If you have forgotten, I asked earlier that what's the difference between cash flow and the profit. All right. The next thing is the next topic, which is objective, shortcomings, and importance. All right. The first thing here is a very obvious reason. It just helps you to raise funds. That's all. It helps you to raise funds. All right, then the other points we have here is to satisfy the requirements of the other parties. You might not be alone in this thing. There are other people that will ask you questions, or sometimes the company is not owned by you alone. Uh, the other party might want to know. Excuse me. All right. So, oh yes, there's a chat here. Let me see what he said. Okay, cash flow is frequency of cash income. Profit is about difference between investment cost and then the amount that you make from sales, right? Okay, great. Right, thanks. I thought you forgot. Okay, now the other point here, I've discussed the other points. This one is saying to determine the optimum facility mix that will maximize revenue. That point. Let me dwell on it a little. Maybe I should use an example to explain myself there. Now you go to a particular village and then you realize that they move to the nearest urban center every day. At least every day, 10 people move to the nearest urban center. If 10 people should move to the nearest urban center every day, if 10 people should do that every day, you now consider buying bikes that can take them to the nearby town. All right, so should you buy 10 bikes so that it can pick the 10 people? No. What you would do is to study how the frequency of these people's movement. If from your study, if you realize, however, that maybe people live in a state of about one hour each, right? So why do you buy 10 bikes? I would suggest you buy 2 bikes. That's all. 2 bikes should do. Why 2 bikes? 2 bikes so that when one leaves to go and drop the first person, they they should be back before the next person will come. And even if they are not back, that first person, the second bike can always take that first person. It can always take the second person, and then before the third person comes, one of these 2 bikes should be back, and so you can use just smaller facility to maximize your revenue. So that's why we say optimum facility mix. So your facility mix will be much more easier. All right. So the other one is we say it helps you to form the a basis for the initial market. Throughout today, as we're talking about in market is number of people that will buy from you. When you say market share, we also say when you say market share, we're also saying that assuming 100 people are ready to buy this particular product, and then that you're also selling, and then 10 people buy your own, the one you're producing, that's good as saying you have 10 of the 100, so your market share is 10 or 10%, right? So so that having been said, the initial market, right, that's how many people do you think you'll be able to sell to? It's a feasibility study that will help you know these things. You know that okay, from the initial market, the people that will buy from you will be so number. And then you help you plan. If you think that 10 people buy, then you plan to produce for maybe 20. If you think that 100,000 people buy, then you plan to produce for a little above 100,000, or you stagger your production in such a way that it can meet whatever they need. Okay, that's basically the objective. But look at the last one. Last one is on the interesting side. Why? In some cases, or let's say in some other cases, it's just to provide an argument so that you can close the business. Because some people close business sometimes, and then they come back years later and realize someone else has opened this business, and the person is doing well. So what did they get wrong? What they got wrong was obviously the fact that they failed to do a feasibility study on whether they should close that business, whether it is proper to close that business. So that's what could have happened definitely in such instance. So before you close any business today, just do a feasibility study to bring your argument on whether you should close it. So that's the most popular objective for feasibility study. All right, let's look at the next thing, the common shortcomings that we have noticed. The common shortcomings are, I mentioned earlier that market is the number of people that will buy from you, right? So the first one here says market potential. That is the number of people that will likely buy from you. So the potential of the market. What the shortcoming we have noticed that people overestimate it. Instead of them assuming that okay, 10 people will buy, they now go and say, ah no, I'll be able to sell to 100 people. You have overestimated the market potential. How does that happen? Let me give you an example. You could have like Abuja now will have about somebody can say okay, the population of Abuja is about 5 million, right? The population of Abuja is about 5 million. So these 5 million, and then you are saying you are selling sachet water. Can you sell um can you sell to these 5 million people? Are you sure? Do you have capacity? Do you have equipment? Do you have things on ground? Do you have people? Do you have the channel to distribute these things to them? Do you have vehicles to move this sachet water or pure water to them? Sometimes when you are doing your analysis, you should be careful not to overestimate what your market potential is. All right, then that follows closely with the second point, which is of underestimated competition. You know, sometimes the population of Abuja is 5 million, and you're saying you sell to 5 million, is as good as you have underestimated competition, meaning that you think that you're the only one that will produce. May not be right. There are other producers that will be there that will sell their products to these people that you want to sell to. Another thing that can also happen in the market is what if their product is better than your own? You need to think carefully about that. Okay, then another point you can see there, we say plant capacity not compatible with market size. It is similar to when I was talking about the objective of one of the objective of feasibility study, and we said it helps you with figuring out the optimum facility mix that could that can maximize, that you can use to maximize your revenue. So if you put up a capacity on ground and it's not compatible with the market size, I recall I say market size is the number of people that will buy from you, then you're going to be in the problem of either you put too much capacity or you put too little capacity. Let's go to the next thing. Shortcomings. People many times underestimate manpower skill or management skills. They'll say, okay, I'll manage the business myself. Or when an issue comes up, instead of them to think of who is going to handle it, they'll say, okay, let me work around it. There's nothing wrong in working around it. There's nothing wrong in saving money to address those things yourself instead of giving it up. But there is also the importance of experience, the importance of technical skill, the importance of somebody that knows and know what to do. It's better we give these things to people that can handle it better than for us to just leave it for someone that cannot deal with it properly. All right. Okay. Let me see. Another one here could be market projection not based on sufficient data. Oh, yeah, that's very clear. Clear in the sense that you could be saying, Abuja is 5 million. Meanwhile, Abuja could be up to 8 million. Maybe Abuja that you want, that your target market is just 1 million. So your market projection may be based on insufficient data or wrong data completely. Another funny one is sometimes people overestimate availability of infrastructure. How common is that? Like if you want to go and farm now, if you want to go and farm and you get a piece of land, 20 hectares, big land, good land that you can cultivate. You get to the farm and you start the process without considering things like, are there roads to that place? How do I get my goods out from there? Are there enough infrastructure for me to be able to ship my items out of that place? These are questions you should have thought of. So those are some of the shortcomings we notice with feasibility studies. Then here we say, what are the importance, right? Importance. I have just four to mention here. Why is feasibility study important? One, it lists in details the things that you need to make the business work. To make the business work. You know, as you do the study, you are going to see so many small things that you didn't even think of when you were conceiving the idea. Those things will start coming up. right? Okay, then another one is identify logistical and other business related problems, right? It's important because when we say logistics, we're talking about something like okay, let me use the example of that farm again. You, at the end of the day, you are lucky, you have very good bumper harvest. What do you do with this harvest? Where do you keep them? Do you leave them in the farm there? They could get stolen. All right. Apart from being stolen, animals, some rodents can come and eat them up. So what do? You need to move them out. And where do you take them to? Do you take them straight to the market? If you take them straight to the market might not be able to meet that demand immediately. So these are logistical issues that you might have to look for how you're going to move them from the farm. And then when you move them from the farm, where are you going to temporarily store them until you take them piecemeal into the market? That's why feasibility study is important, because you will see some of these problems and then the solution. It also helps us to develop marketing strategy, yeah, and then we say it helps you. It serves as a solid foundation for developing your business plan. Always, it serves as that. That's one of the key use. Okay, that's it about the second topic, which says we said objective, shortcomings, and importance, right? The third topic is a short advice. How do you go about the feasibility study? Very short advice. Before you begin writing your feasibility study, what we advise is that identify how, where, whom you intend to sell your product to. So first, how are you going to sell your product? Or more importantly, who are you going to sell your product to? You don't just say, "Oh, I am in business." Who are you going to sell it to? Do you know the people? Do you know what they want? You do that analysis. Okay, where are these people? Or where will you locate your business? And then how will you go about providing the service? Are you going to provide them online? Are you going to provide them? You have a physical shop you open and then people come and take. Some things can be provided easily online, some cannot be provided easily online. So you have to sort that out uh, from your feasibility study. So when you go to the field, don't forget to do that. In the field, number two, in the field, assess your competition. Assess the competition. Is this something that can assess the competition? Check it. Maybe when we get to there's a particular one when we get to maybe the next topic, you'll see why it's important to assess your competition. Assess your competition for their weaknesses, their strength. What are they doing that is great? What are they doing that you can do better? All those things. You need to do that assessment. It will help you know exactly what to do. Then number three, figure out how much money you need to start the business. That one is easy. But the other one that is not easy is to how much to keep it running until it is established. What we mean by that is, you'll be buying raw materials, some repair costs will be coming, some telephone costs will be coming. You need to figure out these figures out and add it to the initial money you need to start the business, like cost of machine, cost of equipment, or cost of renting the place. You need to add all those things. Don't just use rent, machine, and that's all. No, but you also have to add things like staff salary, raw material, and all those things. All of them form the initial part of this thing. Okay. Before I leave this one, another word of advice is what I refer to as pre-feasibility study. The pre-feasibility study is that you should, before you begin a full-blown one, you should conduct something like a pre-feasibility study first. The pre-feasibility study, when you do it, it will help you sort out some relevant scenarios. Scenarios are what if this is, what if that is. And when you sort out those ones, you might choose not to even, sometimes the whole pre-feasibility study will prove that you don't even need to go into the full-blown one. And that would have done what? To have saved you money, to have saved you time, to have saved you energy, and even, but for example, like you could go to some people, give them questionnaire, and then you come back again, give them another questionnaire. You give them, some people get tired of you. You're just giving us questionnaire or asking us or just it. If you want to start business, start. Don't keep talking and talking. So some people might be having some of those issues with you. So you do a pre-feasibility study. The pre-feasibility study will tell you whether you should proceed or you should. The last point that you can see, a consultant may help you with the pre-feasibility study, right? But if you are able to get a consultant to help you on that, what we advise is that um, uh, do it with the consultant. It will be an opportunity for you to understand that business very well before you now. When you do that pre-feasibility study with the consultant, there are so many things that your eyes will be open to, and so when you begin the full-blown one, you will realize that you'll be happy that you started out with a consultant. All right, that's the short advice on how you go about it. All right, let's look at the minimum content. I said that I expect some minimum items in your feasibility study. So when I pick your feasibility study report, what we get the difference. The feasibility study itself is when you go to the market and then you do the feasibility, right? When you go to the market and sorry, when you go to the field and then you do your feasibility study, right? That's the study itself. But when you come back, what is the evidence that you have done a study? You need to write a report. So that report, which there are minimum content, there are things that we expect to see on that report, and that's what some of these items is what we are discussing here. That we want to see them. Why are we discussing this thing? We are discussing this thing because we don't. I don't want a situation where you come back from your feasibility study and I say write the report and you are saying okay, this happened, that happened. No, it will not be systematic. So before you go to the field, we let you know what we will expect from you. And now that we have allowed you to check out, bring out what we are expecting from you, we also expect you to design either questionnaire or design your interview paper or design your observation paper where you're going to note things before going to the field. You know, when you come back from the field, then it becomes easier to write that report. You start filling in those spaces. All right, so the first one here is the business description. What do we mean by business description? Describe the business. Like, in that case of Amaka and Patricia, their business model. That's what we want you to describe it. You say you want to be selling oranges, but you sell only on cash. Or you want to be selling oranges, you sell only on credit to people like bankers, to people like civil servants, to people like boss, to people that earn salary, steady salary, or salary, or people working with very good or big organization that can afford to pay salaries constantly. So you can choose any of those models. So write it out under this description of business for us. Okay. Then you go to the market feasibility. If you can't remember this marketing, try to market technical financial organization. If you can't remember, try to remember MMM in 4 places. The first one is market. The second one is material. The third one is money, and then the fourth one is man. Right. So those are the things we expect you to remember. So for market feasibility study, there under that particular place, here are the things I need you to discuss. Discuss the industry generally. That is all everybody into that producing those things into things that are related to what you need. Like if it's farming, talk about the agri industry, what is being produced, who supplies the implement, and that's what just describe the industry. Then talk about the current market, that is one who is buying. Talk about what will people likely buy in future. Then talk about competition too. It sees the number of people that are into this business before you now bring your sales projection, meaning that the number that you think you're going to sell. Then, interestingly, to tell us your potential buyer, that means you are expecting so people to start buying from you soon or later. That's what we will see under your technical feasibility. Then, under your that's market feasibility. I mean, under your technical feasibility, which is material, right? Here, we want you to talk about how you intend to deliver this product to whoever needs it. Uh, what material, where are you going to get your raw materials from? What kind of labor? I mean, when we talk of labor here, it's not support staff. We are talking about labor in terms of skilled workers. Then transportation. Then I talked about location of your business. You have to tell us about that too, because it falls under technical feasibility. Because your location can determine sometimes how much you earn. All right. Oh, okay. Are you bringing in any technology? Do you have any particular known technology? Is that something you have patented? Is there something special? Bring it up. Let's hear it under your technical feasibility. The next one is financial feasibility. You talk about financial feasibility in terms of how much money do you need. Like for those of you approaching the NISA microfinance, it's almost straightforward how much you need. If you're an existing business, it's 10 million. If you're a new business, 5 million, and then all of those other conditions down there. So that's what we're saying under um, under how much you need. Then where are you going to get it from? Now everybody say NISA microfinance bank, but what if when your business gets so big, you can come back to NISA microfinance bank? We're only offering 10 million or thereabout. So you begin to look for funds from other people, which includes uh, friends and family, which also includes it could be anybody or even some other commercial banks. Then another thing to note here is you have to work out the return on investment. How much is going to come back on this money? You don't just invest and then you go and sit down. No, you have to work on what's the probably percentage that is going to be returned on this investment. One of the common tools that people use when they are discussing return on investment is even some use a little more advanced ones such as net present value (NPV), but others use simple ones such as payback period. Right? Payback period means from what time, if you invest, so how long will it take the business to bring back that money, and then afterwards you can see any other one that is coming. If the machines, every other thing is intact, is your return on investment. The other one is organizational feasibility. We want to know your legal structure, corporate structure, business plan. Business structure. Um, we want to know those things. Who are the? Do you have professionals in the background? Bring them up. Bring them up. All right. If you're an existing business, you need to also say something. I think that's written in the next three slides or so. So let me, when I get to those slides, I'll mention them again. That's when I'm explaining these four M's. All right. Conclusion: discuss how the business can succeed. Be honest in your assessment. Don't think that the investor is just going to read or is tired. Some of them are businessmen. So be honest with your conclusion. It will, and be realistic. That's what we're saying. It will help make things easier. All right, when you are doing your market analysis, by way of emphasis, here are some of the things that I need you to note. You should note what's your target population. I mentioned target population before. If you are selling in Nigeria, if you're selling in Abuja, if you're selling in Kogi, you're selling in Kaduna, or anywhere you want to sell, you measure your what? You measure the target population. Target population is the total number of people that will buy from you. Then that could buy from you or are ready to buy. Then afterwards, we need you to segment these people. You segment them into groups. The groups could be, you could segment them into male, female. You want to face only female, or you want to face only male. Or you could use another criteria to segment them. You can segment them into those that earn plenty money and those that earn low income. uh, you could do that. Or another one is you could separate them into age, right? Those that you consider old, or those from 70 and above or 80 and above, and then the ones that are for maybe 5 years and below. Any form of those grouping is your segmentation. Then you get a strategy for each segment. Get a strategy. Yeah, get a strategy. If you want to reach out to the youth, I learned that you have to use you have to find a way of getting to the social media, right? If you want to reach to the old people, maybe newspapers, some of them will still read newspapers. So you have to find a strategy. Then do a competitors analysis, right? How many of them? What are their strengths? Why do people buy from them? What are the opportunities they have? What are the challenges that they face in general? All right, let's go to technical now. Technical, where are you going to locate this business? Like I said, location matters. Uh, Are you going to, like, if you start a hotel and you go and locate it in an uninteresting place or place that is far from business, it may not work, except if it's a resort where people go there for holiday instead of for business. All right. Want to know your fixed assets. Want to know your equipment. Want to know who the suppliers are. You know how good are the suppliers and all that. Then personnel plan. Where people, how do you tend to plan them for this year? The raw material. Where are you getting your raw materials from? Are you going to get them local? Are you going to source them foreign and all that? Apart from your raw material, your equipment and all those, are you sourcing them locally or you are getting them from somewhere outside the country? All of this we need to put them. Now, the next one is financial analysis, where you bring in information from the technical analysis and some information from the marketing analysis, and then represent them in terms of money terms. That's your financial analysis. You could start by what are the prices of the fixed asset and the equipment, raw material, salaries and wages to your operational expenses. That's for how much is going to go out. Then when you're doing sales projection, you can do sales projection for 1 year. How do you do it? You try to get the cost of producing one item. You multiply by number of items that you sell. That will give you the cost. And you could, from there, you could decide to fix a price for your item. You could fix a price and say, okay, for anything I want to sell, and I've gotten the cost, I'll add 20%. I'll add 20%. So you can say, okay, the cost of this thing is 100 naira. So selling price will be, let's add 20% to 100, which is what, 120 naira. So that would be your selling price. You could do all of that. Then the next one, like I said, is your what organizational analysis. You know, this involves whether you're going to do a whole lot of check to see whether the what you have on ground can be can has enough support for the things that you're bringing. And then if you are making changes, you check whether it's too rapid for you or otherwise. All right, that should be the end of this particular session. We have a few questions that you're going to ask, and then I take a break of 1 minute or so, and then we begin the second section, right? So that we can close today on time. You're tried. So you know the usual drill. How do we answer this question? Go to the chat, type number one, and then answer number one. Afterwards, write number two, answer number two, write number three, answer number three, and then number four, answer number four. All right. So we say, should every business have a feasibility plan? Let me hear your answer on the chat. I'm going to go and watch it shortly. Then, what's the relevance or what's the importance of feasibility plan? Write that out for us too. From what we have been discussing, which aspect of this feasibility plan can you prepare? Which aspect? Or which aspect do you think you need help from others? This is a short quiz. So while you answer them, I'm sure I'll be getting the answer. All right, I've gotten response. Maybe it's Godwin or the Zoom user. All right, it's Godwin. Godwin has been participating. The Zoom user, I don't have your name. If you can answer, please go ahead and answer us. We are seeing Zoom user, not your name. And you are seated in the car, you're traveling. I'm not a prophet. I can see you whenever you put on your video. So if you can answer any of these, if you have been listening, try to answer any of these questions. Okay, so I'll come back again for business plan, which is the second section. Just write in your answers at the chat. I don't know. I think, can you hear me now? All right, let's proceed to the second section. This should be the end of the break. It's over. The second section is business plan, and the most active participant in this class was Godwin. Please feel free to participate. So, how many sections? How many items we have under this? We have 7 items. That's the first one being business executive summary, another one business description, mission statement, 3 business concept, strategy, and value proposition. Look at market summary, competition, 5 competitive advantage, SWOT, risk, resource planning and the team, and then financial projection were done for today. All right, let's go to the first one, which is executive summary. Executive summary. This is the first thing that we're supposed to see after the title. Well, from your business plan, we're going to say title, right? You say business plan for so written by because that's first page. Then the second page is your executive summary. Some people put it there, some people put it after they put it after a table of content. You write table of content which includes executive summary, and then the next page will be what? Executive summary. But some people will put immediately after you flip the cover, the next thing you see there is executive summary. For me, that's what I would recommend. Go ahead and put the executive summary first before the content, because the executive summary that you're putting first is for executives, for the person that you are submitting your document to read. He wants to see it and he wants to see the summary. So what is the executive summary? The executive summary is essentially the summary of the whole business plan. The whole business plan, you summarize it as an executive summary. Everything that is there, you put it there. So when should you write the executive summary? Write the executive summary when you are done with the business plan, when you are done with all the other aspects of the business plan. That's when you now put down what the executive summary. What should the executive summary look like? The executive summary should be catchy, bright, colorful, or anything. Not when I say colorful, it's not what you put yellow, green, and all that stuff on it. Catchy in the sense that it should be attractive. It should be attractive to you. It should also be attractive to any busy executive that can read it. Number 2, the executive summary for me, I recommend that it should just be a page. Don't exceed a page. Some people say 2-3 pages is fine, but for me, I recommend just keep everything in a page. When the person finds it interesting, then the person will proceed to other pages. Okay. I think that's all. That's all on executive summary. Let's go to the next thing. The next thing is business description and then mission statement. Recall, if you had attended the feasibility study class, we said describe the business. So here again, you're going to describe this business. Maybe you just move things that you've written in the feasibility study back here. Describe, but this time a full description of the business, which includes location, the products you want to sell, the promoters, where are you registered, how are you registered, also including a brief history of the company, if the company has had a history, if it's not a new company. Those are the things we want you to write there. Then in this section also, we need you to put the purpose of this company. Why do you put why the company there? Recall that when you're putting the purpose, it's also you're going to put things down like the mission. What's a mission statement? Mission statement is the reason for existence. Why is the business there? What's the purpose of this particular business? So we need you to put that down. Are you getting me? We need you to write that down. And then the objective of the business can be the strategy the business is going to use to achieve the objective. You can write it. Some people can even go ahead and put value. They can put their vision. So, like I said, what's the difference between vision and mission? Mission is the reason for existence, while your vision is your desired optimal future state, what you're going to look like in future. So those are essentially the 2 things there. All right, so that's what we'll have you write in this section. Then we'll go to the next section, which is business concept and strategy and value. All right, business concept. For strategy means how. How do you intend to do this? That's what I said. Then concept is what style of business are you doing? Okay, let me give you an example using the traditional, using the taxi business.
You all know the taxi business. The traditional taxi business is that if you want to go into this taxi business, you buy vehicles, you hire drivers, and then you go around looking for drivers, for passengers, collect the fare. In the evening, you call them, they give you a pack or an agreed pack. That's traditional, or that's what we used to know. But today, that's not the only way taxi business is done. Taxi business could be done using the Uber or Taxify or Bolt, as we call it now, where you are the one looking for passengers for people, and you ask them to go and get their vehicles, and then they will drive themselves or get their own, hire their own driver, whatever model they are doing. So that's a concept, that's a model. We need you to show all this model. Don't be afraid of things like, if I show my model, the trade secret is no, just show the side. You can use a big word to describe it. You can describe it in such a way that the trade secret doesn't go. And if you have a trade secret and you have patented it already, then don't bother. Go ahead, tell everybody. Nobody will be able to replicate it because you already have it patented. Right. All right, strategy, like I said, is how you intend to go about it. Put down your strategy there. Then another thing we want you to put down is your value proposition. Value proposition is what value are you offering your customer. You know that people pay for value. Essentially, every businessman understands that. Yes, when you give value, people want to pay something. So propose your value, and we're saying that your value can be proposed in either any of these four languages. Efficient, that you're going to be more efficient, and meaning that your product can help better than other products, or the output of your service is far greater. Then the quality. I talk about quality, that your quality is higher. And we're not saying you propose value baseless. No, it should be based on the fact that these things exist. You should also be able to propose speed or cost. Maybe you are sourcing this item from somewhere cheaper than what your competitors are getting. Value proposition is similar to proposing to a girl. You don't tell the girl about efficiency, quality, speed, and cost when they don't exist. If you do, she's going to find out. So customers will always find out if you tell them what is not applicable. So you try to get some of this value and then look for how you can propose it. Get the value, then propose it to your client or your customer. All right, the other item is the market summary. We need you to summarize your market, talk about the market in the past, the present, and the future, how the market trend, what has been going on in the market. Do a review of the market too. This review should include things like market share. You know, I told you what market share is, and I also told you what market. Market is the number of people that buy from you, right? So review changes in the market share. That's assuming 10 people can buy from you, or 10 people will buy from you, and then they all of a sudden 12 are now buying from you, or tomorrow or next year 15 are buying from you. So those changes, tell us about it. And tell us about market leader. I mean, who has the biggest chunk of shares? For example, if your whole market is made up of 100, and then somebody is selling to 50 people out of all the 100 people that can buy, then that's obviously the leader. Sometimes he could be selling to even just as low as 20, but the remaining 80 is maybe 70 of us are the ones selling to. That's why we're not leaders. So here, you talk about players, you can know them, talk about opportunities in the market. That's what we want to see in this section. Then another interesting section, I find this very interesting. That's the competitive advantage. The competitive advantage is the things that you have that others don't have. What you have that others don't have. So we're saying your unique resources, and then your core competence. When you combine these two, whatever you get becomes a competitive advantage. Because recall that if these resources are unique to you, others can't get access to it. And then core competence is when you have mastered a particular competence. You discover that others that want to go into it, they start learning it. So that's competitive advantage. All right. So find a way of getting your competitive advantage. One of the ways, things you could do is to sit down quietly, review your business, take a careful look at it. Something I can get, and then you proceed with that. SWOT. Strength, opportunity, threat. That's what we want to see of SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a list, just a list of, give us a list of your strengths, give us a list of your weaknesses, give us a list of your opportunities, and then give us a list of the threats facing you. You know, when we're talking about strengths and weaknesses, we're looking at things that are internal to your business, like your staff strength, your staff. Maybe all your staff can be called, they know every customer. That's a strength. List it out. Maybe you have too much staff turnover. That is a weakness. People don't stay. So write it down. That's a weakness. So these are things that relate to you. Then the things that are from outside. The key example I give is foreign exchange. If you are importing spare parts or importing machine, you know the price becomes dearer and difficult to afford. So that's a threat. List it. And then the opportunity, if you are exporting your agri product, you know that if you export something and you're paid in dollars for the same value, you get more naira following you. So that's also an opportunity. That's all we need you to list as SWOT under your business as it relates to risk. I mentioned risk earlier. I don't know if all of us were around. Risk, you know, what we mean by risk is essentially the event that are going to happen, the probability of an event. So now, if an event is going to happen, or there's a probability that an event is going to happen, we need you to profile this risk by letting us know this is the probability, this is the impact or loss, the impact, and then you multiply probability by impact to get the loss that can occur. And then you go ahead and tell us how you intend to mitigate it. How do you intend to deal with this? You could also color the risk. Color it into green, color it into yellow, color it into red. Tell us the one when we see the ones that are in red, you know that risks are not very, very serious. And then the ones that are in green, maybe they have actually been taken care of, or if whenever they occur, it's not going to be a major issue to you. We want to see that kind of presentation on that risk. And then, like I said, tell us how you intend to mitigate it. Are you going to use what's it called? Are you going to use insurance? Are you going to avoid the risk? Are you just not going to invest in it? Or you are going to accept the risk like that because the reward can be great when it comes? What do you want to do? Let us see it here. You don't just leave investors assuming that issue, or you just don't want to talk about the risk when there's risk. That would be a fair idea. Alright, so let's go to resource planning. That's the next one for us, resource planning. For resource planning here, we're looking at talking about you plan for the business. What are your plans for this business? That's what we need to talk about. What is plan? How do I put it now? Like if you get the 10 million or 5 million, how do you intend to discuss it? We want to see that plan. You know, sometimes you won't need that 10 million or 5 million immediately. You need maybe 3 million to buy some things. Later, you need 2 million to buy that. Later, you need 5 million to do some other things. So, that plan is what we expect you to put down, including how you intend to deploy the phases of the business, the technology, or even distribution. How do you plan to distribute your item? How do you plan to promote the item? How do you intend to store the items? How do you intend to test the items? How do you intend to produce them? So that's what we want under your resource planning. But one key aspect of resource planning is human resource. I want you to put that alone and leave this one as operational plan, right? The operational plan. Mention how you intend to go about and when you test run the factory, when the factory produce test coverage, when you're going to how do you plan to launch into market? All those things. And the resource planning, which I find very important, is here we want to know the team and the organizational structure. Organizational structure, as in sometimes you have a CEO or you yourself, and then who is reporting to you, or you have a CEO you brought in, who is reporting to that CEO, who is reporting to the person reporting to the CEO, who is reporting to the person reporting to the CEO. I mixed that up, right? Okay. So you do that by drawing a diagram, right? You call it organizational chart or organogram. Then let's see. Then we also need you to have a list of these. Give us their list. when you do the list of these people, tell us their accomplishments or landmark goals, things that they have achieved for them that relate to your business. Write them down. Then you can talk about their years of experience in that particular line. And then lastly, talk about their qualification. Yeah, qualification. You can see that there's no, we're not stressing their qualification when it comes to real business. If you have experience and you have done something in landmark, remarkable somewhere before, you are good for the business, you are far better than somebody that brings loads and loads of certificates and has no practical experience. So now I know that now that I'm talking like this, when the ball has turned on you, you know those days some of you graduated and you're shouting, where the employers are saying, well, just a number of experience, where am I going to get them from, and all of that, where am I supposed to, what's all this? Now it's your turn, you are the new employer now. Now you are saying the same thing. And this is the reason why you're saying that. You're saying it because you can't just bring a rookie. This day he has to acquire some experience in some way. And so once you have the key team manning those things, you can bring in all those that do not have experience to learn on that. All right, the last item, which is the seventh item, which is the financial projection. Here you start with giving us your assumption, right? Your financial projection is going to be based on assumption. All financial projections. Why do we call them assumptions? Because you have not started the financial transaction for real. Assumptions such as what do you assume your rent will be? What do you assume your selling price will be? What do you assume your raw material will be? What do you assume that those are the things we need you to write. Write out all your assumptions. Then go into the detailed cash projection. Detailed cash projection. In this class, we try to illustrate it using three layouts. The first layout can be likened to this bottle. You can see this glass. This glass, it has some water. So the more you put water in, that's the first layout, right? If you put so much water, so much will collect here. But that is a function of what if you put a hole here. You put a very big hole here, and then a small droplet there, we will not have anything here as balance at all. So we have the three layout. The three layout deals with the inflow, it deals with the outflow, and it deals with the balance that you have here. All right. So once we're done with that, we're done with this section, and we're free for the day. So let me show you those layouts. The layout, this very layout, you can. Okay, what's on your screen now is just let's say minimum content of the business plan. Sometimes it changes, but you can make it. So let's go to the layout. For the layout, you can use Excel, Microsoft Excel, for those of you that are good with Excel. For those of you that are not good with Excel, you can even pick a piece of paper, right? And then break them down into columns. Right? The first layout, you can break them into first column is the description of the things that you need, right? As you can see on the screen. And then the other columns here are the period. We say it can be months, can be weeks, can be days. Most people use months here. So you write the income or the inflow, and then let's have the items that relate to the items of inflow like sales, loan, or money paid from debtors. Write them like that. Then you come under each month, each period, you write how much you have got, and then total them. Okay. The second layout is the expenditure layout, which is the outflow. The outflow from that glass I showed you, right? The outflow is this section, the one that goes out. What I showed you just now is what enters, right? What enters. So what goes out, I'm trying to describe. Okay, so what goes out now, you follow the same number of columns and all of that. But this time around, you have expenses such as what purchases of raw material, wages, payment of salary, or rent, none of that. And then as it occurs in each period, you put them there, and then you put the total. Now, for illustration purpose, I've put some figures and I've brought two of the layouts together. The first inflow layout and then outflow layout. I brought them together. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Okay. Now, I've put some figures for illustration purpose. Still 600 loan. You know, this one doesn't. You can see that it occurred in January, not then. But don't get loan every day. Get for a period, and then you get for a period to meet certain things. You can get January loan, you can get February loan, but loans don't continue forever. What continues all the time is sales. Sales January, you will always be selling things until someone pays. So the addition of the sales and the loan, you put in there, all sales or plus any other income, the expenditure purchasing say 800, which is say 400, and then up. All right, so let's bring out the third layout, the balance layout. That's this one, right? Let's know how much is left as water as in this particular one. Okay. All right, you can see from illustration, the glass was not completely empty, meaning that there was some amount there. And in this case, we have 300. We began the business with 300. Then total income, sales and loan amounted to what? 1,006. Total expenditure also amounted to what? 1,200. If you look at it carefully, you'll see that 1,600 came in, 1,200 was spent, 400 was there. So where is this 400, 700? This 700 is this 400 plus 300. That's what we used to open a next period. There are a number of things that can happen. You may not have anything here to start the period. So you have 1,600 minus 1,200, 400. Closing balance will still be 400, and then you start the new period with 400. You could, these figures could change. Here we even with just 1,000, and here is 1,000. So you will discover that you need to spend 200 from these 300, and you'll be left with what 100. Start the new period with 100. It can keep happening like that, but where you need to watch out for is if total income is less than total expenditure. Sometimes you can move some of the expenditure to other people. And if this total expenditure is always higher than total income, then you should know that there's a problem. Except where you are waiting for one major sales that will cover for all your previous small. Otherwise, there's something wrong. Maybe the business is not feasible, the business cannot sustain itself. These are things that you need to check and address. All right, gentlemen, in the class today, some participants were there, some came in, some went out. But Godwin was around throughout and he participated. I'm impressed. Thank you. Infinix came in, he left. Zoom user came in, he left, and then a couple of other people came in and left, like Felix. All right. What we'll do is that we'll put this particular presentation on WhatsApp chat for you so that you can go through it again. If you have any questions, come back to us on the WhatsApp and feel free to ask. On this note, I want to thank all of you for listening and I thank you for participating, particularly Godwin, and I wish you the very best. If you have any questions, you can ask the question now. You, the host will unmute you so you can ask your question. You can have it. Done. We're going to put.
Yeah. Thanks so much for this lecture. I really appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to go to response.
Yeah.
Right. If you have a question, you can ask it or ask in the chat. We'll put the quiz for you now to answer the quiz. It will help us know whether you're able to grab what you're discussing.
Okay.
That's essentially what we have for today. So I'll be putting the slide slide presentation and I'll see if I can get the quiz or the secretariat is going to put the quiz for us and you attempt it now. And with that, let's see if we can leave here before the report. Thank you very much for listening.